Um, all right, man. I wanted to address a question that was sent into us
Hmm.
on. I believe the question was sent into us on Instagram. And yeah, go tap in with our Instagram page. It's Street and Scholars, street dot and dot scholars. And there was a really interesting question that came in, and I wanted to shout out the person that sent it. I'm gonna have to find that in a moment. But the question was, and it was mostly to you, FG, because of your knowledge and experience of the federal system. But the question was, can you talk about Blue Da Vinci, aka Barima McKnight? Because Jay Diggs was mentioned something that he was involved in a safety valve. What does safety valve mean in the federal system? And if you guys are familiar with Jay Diggs, he just did a diss song against Whack 100, and he had a bar in there saying something about Blue Da Vinci Told, and I guess Jay Diggs is referring to something that's called a safety valve. I've never heard of a safety valve, but what does that mean in the federal sentencing guidelines?
I've heard of safety valve, and I think everybody in the feds heard of a safety valve. And the reason we heard of it because we never knew nobody who actually had one. So back then in the federal system, we was trying to do all our due diligence on all the federal laws and statutes, just based on any time somebody come through with something. We wanted to make sure that we knew what the rule was or the law was pertaining to it. You know what I mean? So we know how to handle business or not. But I never knew nobody that was eligible for a safety valve, Alex. But what it was, if you had minimal, and I mean very, very minimal criminal history, like you could only have either less than 3 or 4 criminal history points in order to be eligible. That's for one. So you had to have damn near no criminal history, because a lot of people don't understand in the federal guidelines when they get to talking about criminal history points. You could have a ticket and it could be considered as one criminal history point, So you damn near had to have a squeaky clean record in order to get one. What they try to say that the safety valve is you do have to basically make a statement on what happened in that case. In one way, they're gonna say it's not snitching and it's not telling and it's not informing. But if you read the structure of it, you do have to basically debrief on exactly what happened in the situation you was in. Now, if you got a co-defendant and you try to get a safety valve, you have to tell exactly what you and your co-defendant did.
Mm.
Now, if you got a fraud case and you trying to get a safety valve, which, let me be clear, safety valve is only, you can only get a safety valve for certain cases anyway. So say if your case only carry 2 or 3 years, you're not eligible anyway. It have to be a substantial amount of time that you're facing. So if you get a safety valve and you basically tell on what you did as far as the situation, you debrief on everything you did. You know, most of the time we commit a crime, it's either with somebody or against somebody. So you have to tell all this, what happened. The homies do believe that a safety valve, you told, you debriefed, you gave up a certain amount of information, because the information that you given up needs to be useful to the government, whether they use it or not. It needs to be useful and substantial to them in order for them to grant you that safety valve. So at the end of the day, we did always call it telling. I don't know Blue Da Vinci situation. I don't know if he had co-defendants. I don't know. The only way I could see a safety valve working is if you commit a crime by yourself. You're the only one on the case, and you basically debrief and tell exactly what you did and who else was involved. And only people other can have been involved that was acceptable to me is the victims. So if you were able to do that, then maybe the safety valve worked out. But at the same time, I did know Blue Da Vinci. Blue Da Vinci did a proffer statement as well, if I ain't mistaken. You know what I mean? So when you do that a proffer statement, Alex, speaking specifically of Blue Da Vinci, you debriefing anyway and giving up a whole lot. You making statements. You know what I mean? So Blue Da Vinci's situation is different. So did Blue Da Vinci get a safety valve? Is that what Jay Diggs saying?
Yeah, that's what Jay Diggs is saying, and also a few other people. There's even a author named Mara Shalhoub who wrote a book about BMF, and she talked about the cooperation of Blue Da Vinci. But I want to read with this paragraph from this lawyer's website called lawbayback.com. He has this whole entry on what exactly a safety valve is. And in this paragraph here, he says, it is generally safe to engage in a safety valve debrief. Many inmates mistakenly believe that the safety valve debriefing is snitching or informing. Debriefing rarely results in any new arrest, but only serves to inform the government of what really occurred in the offense, and also serves as a kind of penance for an individual charged with a drug crime being completely honest with the prosecutor about what really occurred. And that part right there is kind of it seems like this paragraph is a little bit contradictory, because the attorney in here is saying that it's not necessarily snitching or informing, but you have to tell the government everything that happened. So how is it not snitching or informing if you have to tell the government everything that happened? And if you have co-defendants, you got to tell everything that you know of the co-defendants. So I think this attorney is trying to have it both ways in the way he wrote this here in this paragraph, FG.
No doubt, but at the same time, like I said, it seemed like the only way it could be acceptable if you was just um, pulled over with some drugs and you were caught, you were arrested, and you went to, file for a safety valve. You didn't have no criminal history, or very minimal, and you went and told them everything you did, and I don't see them granting it that way, because I'm almost thinking that in order to have a safety valve, bro, you got to give them something. And most of the time it's not nothing about you, because they already know what they know about you. They know they got you with the drugs. They know they wants to know where you got them from, who helped you get them, who helped you acquire them, who were you going to sell them to. See, they not telling you all this part. You know what I mean? So me personally, I believe the safety valve, man, is a setup, for you to make statements, or and once you start making statements, that's when the telling and the snitching come in.
Yeah, there's this author I mentioned named Mara Shallow. She wrote a book about this, and I want to read a part of something that she wrote regarding what Blue Da Vinci did. She says here, and let me. She says here, and this is from her website. Her website is called creativeloafing.com. She says here that Blue Da Vinci received a 5-year, 4-month sentence, less than the government's recommendation, due in part to the fact that he agreed to share information with authorities. But that information turned out to not be useful. However, because the government had already built most of its case against BMF, Blue Da Vinci also was not willing to testify against other defendants. And this is a quote from his attorney, according to Mara Shalhoub. His attorney says he would have liked to have cooperated if he could have, David McCusick says, but he didn't have any useful information. So that comes directly from Mara Shalhoub, who wrote the book on the BMF and who covered this case. It sounds like borderline snitching to me. What do you say?
I mean, it ain't borderline. You know what I mean? If he gave up any information pertaining to the gang outside of just pleading to his plea agreement, now let me be clear. When you take a plea agreement, the plea agreement in it is going to say, do you admit to these charges? Charges going to be, did you willfully sell cocaine to whoever you sold it to, whether it's an agent or whatever? Did you sell cocaine to them? Did you commit the crime? Basically, that's what it's saying. Now, if you have a co-defendant, you know what I mean? You have to go to your co-defendant and say, bro, listen, they got a deal on the table. We both, in order to take the plea agreement, they're going to sit up there and say, we willfully sold some cocaine to an agent. You know what I mean? And hey, homie, are we going to take this deal? If my co-defendant say, no, I ain't going to take the deal, then I can't take the deal, because I'm not going to admit to selling to an agent based on, because my co-defendant want to fight his case however you want to fight it, even if it's in my best interest to take the plea, so now with that being said, that happens all the time when people take a plea agreement. Now, when you get to talk about proffer statements and safety valves, information need to be given outside of the information pertaining to what's going on with your case. That's the part that they not telling you. You know what I mean? That's the part that they not putting out there. They know exactly what you did. They don't want to know exactly what you did. They want to know the extra stuff. You know what I mean? And those questions are coming, in that part that where it keeps saying, you have to be willingly and truthfully about everything. And they asking you all kind of stuff. And that's what people that's taking these these safety valves and making these proper statements not understanding, bro. You making a statement, you know what I mean, about the crime When you either just take your deal and plead guilty and leave it at that. They know what you did already. So to me, I don't believe in the safety valve, especially when these dudes are going to jail with more cocaine than a little bit, you know what I mean? I don't understand it, but I can't honestly say that I don't know nobody personally who've ever had a safety valve for me to personally just ask them to break it down. But from what I done read about it, and I done read many reviews on it, you know what I mean, that safety valve is basically providing information for a lower sentence.
But it's according to all accounts of whatever he provided to the government, it was not useful, and it was information that they already had. What if let me just play the other side? What if the Blue Da Vinci says, "Okay, I'll cooperate with you guys and do the safety valve debrief," but he already knows everything they know, and he already knows what he's going to say, and he's not going to add anything to what the government already knows. And then at the end of the day, it turns out his debrief did not lead to any new arrest, to any new information. If that is the case, do you still put him in that same category?
I mean, you don't make statements, Alex. You know what I mean? You don't tell them nothing. You know what I mean? When it's time to take a 10, 20-year deal, you're going to plead guilty to what they say you did. You know what I mean? You're not going to add no statements to it. You know what I mean? You're not going to give them no information at all. You know what I mean? That's just the real, man. I ain't no thin line between motherfuckers. Now, like I said, I don't know Blue Da Vinci or his situation. I'm going by what you telling me at this moment. But at the same time, man, I don't give a fuck who you is. You don't go in there and make no statements about nothing. You know what I mean? You go in there telling people your name and your address if need be. Your baby mama number so somebody can call and that little stuff like that. But at the same time, man, you don't go in there and you don't talk on nothing about the crime itself. You know what I mean? Especially when you're working with the feds. You ain't going in there to fight them. You going in there to see what the best deal you can get. Ain't no fighting them. They done already got you. They got their case sold up. It is a few people that have beat the feds. It's rare. You know what I mean? But for the most part, in a lot of these drug investigations, bro, they got so much on you. I mean, what is there to fight? So in order for you to, the amount of drugs that these dudes had in their case, man, most of them cases, them 841s, US 21 USC 841 drug cases, they had a 10-year to life. You know what I mean? All of them. They had a 10-year to life, bro. You know what I mean? I don't care. My first drug case ever. I only have one in my life. It was a 10 to life. You know what I mean? And I got convicted on 98.8 grams. You know what I mean? These people wasn't playing, Alex. You know what I mean? So any kind of statement you make, I'm not fine with. Why are you making a statement? You know what I mean? So if you asking me what I believe snitching is making a statement, you know what I mean? On anything got to do with your case other than, what you did and what only you did and not mentioning anybody else.
Well, he received a 5 year, 4 year, I'm sorry, 5 year, 4 month sentence, which was on the lower end, which kind of suggests that maybe that was the deal that he accepted for whatever exchange of information he gave. He ends up doing just less than 4 years, I believe 3 years, 11 months. He went in 2008, came out in 2011. Ironically, these are the same years you were in there. I'm assuming he did not go to Victorville. He went to a low also. So he went to a low, and he did from 2008 to 2011 on a 5 year, 4 month sentence. Does any of that kind of stand out?
No, because let me back up and be clear. Because you had two kind of drug statutory minimums. You got a 10 to life and you got a 5 to 40. Just say nowadays with laws as they are right now, you get caught with 5 birds or more, it's a 10 to life. You get caught with 4.5 birds, Alex, it's 5 to 40. You know what I mean? So, like I say, I'm not familiar with Blue Da Vinci case, but let me be clear. That they do have a 5 to 40 if he only got, say, caught with 4 birds or something like that. That's now. Back then, it was different. So say you get caught with 4 birds, yeah, you don't have a criminal history record, yeah, you can get, it's 5 to 40. So say if the judge did give him 5 years, 4 months, he gave him more than the mandatory minimum. So that's perfectly fine. I'm not questioning the sentence because I don't know his case. I'm questioning what you said about the safety valve. You have to debrief on something. You have to give them something in order to receive the safety valve. Now, I'm not clear if you saying he tried to get the safety valve, but the information that he gave wasn't enough to qualify because they already knew that. Now, if that's the case, then that's a whole different separate situation. You know what I mean? He didn't give him no information outside of probably exactly what he did or something like that. And they said, okay, that's not enough. So maybe he didn't qualify. So they gave him the 5 year, 4 months, which was see, I don't know how much drugs he was convicted of. So you do have a 5 to 40 for the dude for under a certain amount of drugs. You do have a 10 to life. I happen to have a 10 to life. You couldn't go under, the judge couldn't go under 10 years. If he had a 5 to 40 in his case, due to the amount of drugs that he was convicted of, the judge could have gave him anywhere from 5 to 40 years and chose to give him 5 years, 4 months. So it don't strike a bell or it don't add up. But when you went back and specifically said something about a safety valve, like I say, I also heard that Blue Da Vinci made a proper statement. When you do that proper statement, Alex, you tell shit, straight up, so when you talk about those two, yeah, those that's making statements. And to me, that ain't cool.